Welcome everyone to our New York Freedom Fighter X Spaces with Cozy, Mark, and Y, and yours truly, Ra. This X Space is hosted here on X via Cafecito Break, Mondays 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and our focus until November is going to be the election season. I'm your host, Rosangel Perez, one of the Perez sisters of Cafecito Break. We are boots on the ground here in New York, indie media and entertainment content producers, and our roots are from MTV Networks. Our focus is community wellness, medical freedom, and politics in this great awakening. And at this time, I'd like to pass on the mic to my co hosts for their introductions, Mark Fenton Y and Cozy. Mark?
Hello, fellow freedom loving Americans. We are back, just like how the TV shows and sitcoms used to take off for the summer. We are back for a new season of New York Freedom Fighters. So I'm excited. New start time, 8 p.m. every Monday as opposed to 9 p.m. And we're going to keep things shorter for a 1 hour program. So little things change, but still the same amazing freedom fighters. About me, for those of you that don't know, I ran for state assembly, city council, and U.S. Senate in New York, and background in finance, trucker, a whole bunch of stuff that jack of all trades. But I'm here joining my fellow freedom fighters to bring awareness of all different things going on in New York and global politics, including candidates that are running, like our special guest Athena, who is joining us. But before we get to her, pass it over to Cozy. Cozy, glad to be
What's going
back
on,
with you.
everybody? What's going on? Glad to be back. Yes, it feels like we're back home. So, yeah, for quick thing about me is I'm a former healthcare worker that was fired for refusing the COVID vaccine. And, ever since then, and before then, I was actually, doing things for medical freedom, always fighting for it for a pretty long time, almost 2 decades doing that. Been in this movement, escalated after COVID-19, and I'm doing whatever I can to survive and spreading the message. So, making songs, rapping, spreading messages, giving speeches, doing what I can to spread the message until we defeat these evil people. And that's my introduction. So let's get started here. Athena Clarke is our special guest. Athena Clarke is a Republican candidate. She's running for New York City Council in District 46. That includes neighborhoods in Brooklyn, Marine Park, Sheepshead Bay, Bergen Beach, Garrison Beach. And this November 4th, you need to go out and vote for her. And we're going to tell you why. She's going to tell you why. She's challenging the incumbent Democrat, Mercedes Narcisse, I think you pronounce it, and a conservative party candidate by the name of Dimple Willibus. What a weird name, Dimple Willibus. Anyway, born and raised in Brooklyn, District 46. She's a first generation American with roots in Jamaica and the West Indies. And yeah, Mark, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, the city council, District 46, currently an incumbent Democrat, tougher Republican to win, but nothing's impossible. And she is, like us, a fellow freedom fighter in the sense that many of our freedom fighters got fired from their jobs for not taking the vax. She's a mother as well as a former educator in New York City, and she's looking to restore some normalcy of the pre-pandemic days, which I'm assuming is one of her reasons for running. But I'll pass it over to her so she could say why she's running as a Republican, and what are some of the things that she would like to accomplish in the city council. Welcome, Athena.
Hello. Hi, everyone. Just making sure everyone can hear me.
Yep,
Yeah, we can
loud and
hear
clear.
you.
Perfect. Great. So, thank you guys so much for having me on. I'm actually a little nervous. I always get nervous when I am able to speak with people who I basically looked up to during this entire process. Being terminated, being let go, it felt very lonely. And then thank God for social media to some extent, where you get connected to other people and it doesn't feel so alone. So thank you guys again. Thank you, Cozy. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ra. I'm so appreciative of being on tonight. So, like you mentioned, I was a teacher for the DOE. I'm a special education teacher. I taught for 7 years before the mandate came about. And when the mandate did happen, I ultimately chose bodily autonomy. I said no, that I'm not going to take the shot. And unfortunately, that led to my termination. And I was a tenured teacher, so I was not supposed to be fired without due process. Plenty of teachers have done actual crimes against students, like abusing children, for example, and they get something called rubber roomed. And they get basically, you have like 2 years before you have your hearing. And a lot of the times, these teachers are actually able to keep their job. They just change them to a different district. Whereas during the mandate era, they just terminated all of the teachers, um, teachers, paras, counselors, OTs, therapists. We ultimately lost the jobs along with other individuals like the firefighters and the police officers. We all had these contracts. And one of the best things about city contracts is supposed to be job security. So it was very unfortunate and very shocking when I lost my job. And my last case was actually a year ago. It'll be a year on Thursday when our case went all the way to the Court of Appeals, and it was myself and four other teachers. And ultimately, we lost in Albany when we got there, and it came as a shock, just because I just remember being in the courtroom, and the judge asked the city attorney, because the city was basically arguing that it was a condition of employment that led to our termination. And my attorney, Jimmy Wagner, was basically defending us just on our right to tenure. It wasn't even about the efficacy of the vaccine or anything like that. It was just that tenured teachers aren't supposed to be fired without due process. And one of the judges asked the attorney for the city. So, since the mandate was a post hire condition of employment, if the city were to say, for example, all teachers need to get their PhD within 2 weeks, or else you're fired. Can the city do that? And the attorney actually said yes. And he stumbled and fumbled when he was saying yes, but ultimately his answer was yes. And I just remember thinking to myself, like, oh, we had to have win this case, because how can you say something like that? And because New York is so corrupt, even the judges, we still lost that case. And when I got the phone call a month later, usually these cases, like these verdicts or rulings, take about a couple of months, but ours came down, because it wasn't just myself, came down in about a month and a half, because it was before my daughter's birthday. So sometime in October, that ruling came, and we lost. And so when that happened, my attorney, he was really upset, because he was like, you ladies didn't do anything wrong. He's like, and I want you guys to know that, like, you did nothing wrong, and the city is wrong. And so he came up with the idea of having having us run for city council. And it was really up to whoever wanted to go ahead and, you know, take a chance and ultimately run, because the goal is to reinstate and compensate all fired workers, not just the teachers. And he kept asking me, like, are you going to do it? Like, do you want to do it? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. And what led me to ultimately say yes, besides the support of my husband and my sisters and my best friend, who my best friend also lost her job because she was a nurse. My younger sister lost her job because she's in hospitality. So she used to work at the Aviator, which has been completely shut down. It has not reopened ever since COVID. And I applied for a job. And when they ran my fingerprints, I had a problem code, which basically blocked me from basically blocked me from working anywhere in New York State, not just the city. So I couldn't work anywhere else because of that problem code. And so that just got me so angry that I picked up the phone and I was like, okay, I'll do it, Jim. I'm running. So that's pretty much how I ended up running for city council.
It's similar to me in 2020. Once the pandemic started happening, I felt like that was the most effective way to fight back. And Curtis Lee was the only mayor candidate that is a medical freedom candidate and wants to reinstate and compensate. And the importance of the local elections, the city council elections, is a lot of people, you guys, the local candidates, are the ones who are out there in the streets and meeting people. And Curtis meets with the local candidates. I know he's met with you before, and he tries to do what he can to come to different events. And that, by you running, it actually helps him get more votes too. So even if obviously we're all hoping that you win, but even if you don't, you're still doing a major part in the city as a whole, and trying to help Curtis win as well. So that's important as well. So we do appreciate you running. What are some of the things that you'd like to accomplish after you do, if you do win?
Thank you for that. Yes, he does come to some of our events. He actually attended my most recent fundraiser, which was this past Saturday. So it was great seeing him there. And it was funny to have him there because one of my friends, I drove her home and she was like, I never heard of Curtis Sliwa. And I was like, what do you mean you've never heard of Curtis Sliwa? I'm like, you don't remember him from the last election? And she was like, no. She's like, but I don't like Mandami, and I'm glad that I was actually able to like see him and hear him speak. So I was like, well, you know what? If it's just one more person that got to meet Curtis and see what he's about, then my mission is accomplished. So something that I would like to get done besides the obvious, which is reinstating and compensating terminated workers, I also want to change the legislation around what has happened because they just ignored our contracts, and that's something that can never happen again. So I would like to change the legislation whereas we are actually protected the way that we are supposed to be, even if the mayor tries to implement a post hire condition of employment, because he did go around the city council when he did the mandate. And unfortunately, people in city council didn't really stand against him. Most of the individuals in city council did not stand against him when he did that. Also, as I am campaigning, I'm learning a lot. So, you know, the mandate is what affected me, but the mandate affected so many other individuals in different ways. So as I go around the district, so many stores are closing or have closed. Businesses are suffering so much post COVID. Crime has risen post COVID. Homelessness has risen post COVID. Housing is so hard. Like rent is sky high. I can't even afford to buy a house. That seems like such a pipe dream at this point. So a lot of people that I'm meeting are saying that they love it in our district, especially in a lot of individuals in Canarsie are really suffering, and but they just can't afford it. And um, a lot of the people, so Canarsie has a lot of multifamily homes. So whereas like Mill Basin and Marine Park, they're more single family homes, but Canarsie is more multifamily homes. So there are a lot of vacant apartments in Canarsie, but the homeowners are afraid to rent because as we've seen cases where people will rent from the homeowners and they'll stop paying their rent, they'll trash their apartment, and when they try to seek help from the city to get, the tenants thrown out or whatever the case may be, evicted, there's no support for them, and they always side with the tenant, and they need to be some kind of balance to protect both tenant and homeowners because people rather take the loss of not renting out their apartments as opposed to renting out your apartment, still not getting paid the rent, and now you have to pay to get repairs done. And with that, it kind of hurts the ecosystem that we have here because then rents are able to be jacked up sky high when you do find an apartment because it's so apartments are so far and few in between to come by. And even with affordable housing, which isn't that affordable, the buildings that they're building now, the apartments are shoe boxes basically, and you're paying $2,300, $2,500, $2,800 a month, and you're living on top of each other. So I would like to implement something that will help homeowners, that'll help the people that are suffering, because that's ultimately what's happening. It's those of us who are here or down on the ground that are suffering the most.
Thank you for that. I mean, it's amazing how New York, high in crime and low in quality of life over the past few years, but the rent still manages to continue increase. And you explained one of the reasons why, that people don't want to rent out, because next thing you know, you got somebody who's living in your apartment for free, and you're not getting rent, and you can't get rid of them, so it's not even worth it. That kind of gets the market. Decreases the amount of apartments available, and supply and demand and everything. I was looking at your Instagram recently because you're coming on the show. I know we follow each other, but because of shadow banning, I never really see any of your stuff come up. But since you were coming on the show, I'd noticed the video that you did about all the stores. I believe it was on Flatbush Avenue that were all closed down, and it's like, what's the motivation for somebody to rent a storefront in New York anymore? They have to worry about a corrupt government that can shut you down at any point, and then also on top of that, even if we're not locked down, you have people who are just shoplifting and looting stores with no repercussions. So it's important for people to realize that the solution is to elect common sense people like yourself and Curtis Lewa into the mix. But I don't want to hog all the questions, so I'll pass it over to Cafecito to see what she has to ask you, if anything.
Thank you. Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Awesome. Athena, we are so delighted that you're with us today. And I'm excited that you're running. I feel that you just exemplify and embody uh, what I feel is a visionary candidate for this new era, to coin uh, Elijah Diaz, who's also running, right?
Yes, he is.
Something that you well, there's a couple of things that you mentioned that I wanted to kind of circle back for. The When you mentioned the problem code, to me that's like a scarlet letter, and you're singling out people to sort of shame them. When you made that discovery, how was that inner processing for you, knowing what you know, and from your studies, and being in certain circles, and maybe, for somebody like me, I didn't think the government would go so far, and then, we experience what we experience. So just curious to hear what you would say.
That's such a good question. So if I pedal back a little bit, when I initially got terminated, I hustled on my own for a little bit, tutoring, being self-employed for the most part. And then I worked for the summer. I did a 6-week summer school all the way in White Plains, which, if people don't know, from Brooklyn to White Plains, that's past the Bronx, past Yonkers. So it was a commute, and I was able to work. And then I also worked in a UPK program. So I'm honestly not sure if the UPK program I worked for, um, they might have used my DOI fingerprints instead of my DOE fingerprints. I'm not sure like how I was able to work, and I don't question it. So I'm not going to say what where I was working because I don't want them to get in trouble in case it was something that wasn't supposed to happen. But I did see, because I saw when Michael Caine for Teachers for Choice had posted that there are some teachers who are trying to work and they have problem codes. So I was technically working at a UPK program, so I didn't think I had that issue. Even though looking back on it, I do remember I kept getting emails from the PETS system, and that's the system that is used for our fingerprinting and for hiring, but I didn't think anything of it. So, I took time off. I took another like year off or so because I had my daughter. So when I decided to go and work this January, because this happened this year, and they pulled my fingerprints. First of all, I had to do a questionnaire, and one of the questions was, "Have you ever been terminated from any job?" And that question, honestly, it broke me a little bit because I have never been fired from a job ever, like ever, ever, ever. I've never been terminated. So when I saw that question, it already felt like a kick in the gut to have to answer and say yes. And then when you say yes, you explain why you were terminated, and they ask you the same question in like two or three different ways. And so that was already annoying for me. And then when I was waiting for my fingerprints to clear, it usually take like for myself, my fingerprints usually clear within 2 to 3 days tops. But a week has gone by. I remember I emailed the company like, "Hey, I didn't receive a email saying that I was nominated." Then they went in the system and they fixed that. So then I got my nomination email. So now I'm waiting for my fingerprints to clear, and a week has gone by. So now I'm calling my sister like, "Hey, my fingerprints hasn't come back yet." My sister was working for the agency that I applied to. And then when I got the phone call that I had a problem code, part of me already knew what it was because there was no reason why the fingerprints was taking so long. And so it was kind of like okay, I was expecting it. But then I got so angry because I got terminated. I mean, my official termination was 2022, but I've been out of work since 2021. I was on leave without pay from 2021. So this is now 2025, and I have a problem code. And I just felt so angry. I felt disrespected. I felt annoyed. I was frustrated. I It was really hard to wrap my head around it. It's still hard to wrap my head around it because I didn't do anything. My record is as clean as a whistle. I worked in three different schools within the city, and you can speak to any of my principals, any of my assistant principals, any of my coworkers. Like, I have such a clean record. I was a highly effective teacher. I was a part of different groups. I was a part of the PTA and all these groups. So for them to give me a problem code over a mandate, to me, was insane, and it felt like overkill. And it was overkill. That's what it felt like. It felt like overkill because I have still yet to fill that gap of that salary that I haven't worked in 4 years. So it was just like, so you guys really just want us to be broke and destitute. That's really what it feels like. And that's really what it is, because how else can you explain something like that? And I just felt it was, in a nutshell, really demonic.
Picking up,
Yeah,
hold on a second. I just want to just share one thing because oh boy. From that aspect, Athena, because we have spent of some time here on these spaces talking about the many injustices that happened in 2020 with the city workers, with people who are in service for just improving life and the livelihoods of everyday New Yorkers like yourself. Um, Now, to me, the shaming, right? There's a shaming aspect of the problem codes, and when you highlight, the small businesses just like not being uh, as prevalent, all these businesses shut down. The everything is so expensive. People who have property unsure of renting or can't even get true renters, and you don't even know if you're gonna get. I mean, there's so many different things can that take away from the human soul and can make it easy for you to just accept a pre-packaged life where people are telling you what you need. No, we need more bike lanes. We need less parking spaces. We need less cars. We need smaller apartments, uh, nicknamed micro apartments. Why? Because they and I was witness to some of these conversations in some of my early days of community organizing, where there was this push for, smaller, greenifying, pushing some of the families out of the city so that the city could be like a single person or young people kind of hustle and bustle kind of thing. I don't see how this plan that they actually are implemented in so many facets is working, because I just see people more unhappy, more upset. They have less of everything, even less emotional capacity. Life is tough. So when life is so tough and people are like struggling to make ends meet, somebody like Mamdani, candidates that are so many of them already in the council that are preaching democratic, socialist, progressive policies. How do you see that? Where do you stand on that? And I imagine you get pushback because a lot of times people see your skin color and want to just make assumptions.
Yeah, people are desperate at this point, and they're right where they want them. They caused this problem, and I was like, hey, we have the solution. And it's very strategic, to be honest. It's a very strategic approach, and it's been used in history time and time again. Get people to their breaking point and offer them something that seems so amazing, so heroic, put a nice little bow on it. And now it's like, oh yes, I can't afford to live. So you're going to rescue me with free buses. I can't afford to live. So you're going to rescue me with government ran grocery stores. And it's like, that's an epic fail. That is a complete and total failure. They're selling you a lie. And maybe it might seem to work in the beginning, but it's definitely not going to work in the long run. We can see it with NYCHA housing, right? We can see it with the welfare system. None of the things that they actually offer actually work and solve anything. It's a quick little band aid for a problem that they intentionally cause. Because what do they want? The government wants us dependent on them. And that's exactly what they're trying to do. So if they strip you of home ownership, if they strip you of owning your own car, if they strip you of the right to go to the grocery store and buy what you want for yourself, you are completely and totally dependent on the government, and they can control you in any which way they want, right? Look at how quickly things escalated during COVID. They basically held our jobs in our faces and said, do what we want, or you can't make ends meet for yourself. And it's not just stopping there. The cycle is going to continue, and it's going to get worse and worse. And as bad as crime is now, if socialism comes into play, it's going to be 100 times worse, because desperate people are going to start acting out of that desperation. We haven't seen anything yet if this Mandami character actually wins this election. And I do get pushback because of my skin color, more so because I'm running Republican. But if I'm completely transparent, I've actually had many more positive interactions than negative. And I'm actually surprised at how many more positive interactions I've had, because it's kind of like a balance. So there are many people like us who may have, complied, but they also remember what was done. And they've seen how the city has changed just in this short 5 year span after COVID. And even though the government wants to act like COVID never happened, because that's more and more what's happening. The narrative more is like COVID never happened, it doesn't exist, mandates are gone, everything is back to normal. And some people say that they feel like things are normal again. I don't. I still don't have that sense of normalcy that I've had 5 years ago. New York used to be the city that never sleeps. Things aren't even open late at night anymore. Like McDonald's, in certain neighborhoods, McDonald's is closed by 11 o'clock. Even the drive-through, like you can't even go to McDonald's and get something late at night to eat because crime is just so high. So I don't feel that sense of normalcy. I don't know, maybe you do, but I haven't felt that um in about 5 years. So I'm not sure if I answered your question or not.
You absolutely did. Thank you. I'd like to pass this to Cozy if he has some questions.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank you for jumping into this race. You're like a breath of fresh air for us, because you represent what we feel, what we've been through, especially be as a medical worker. So glad you jumped in, and I trust you immediately. Like even before you even open your mouth, the fact that you are one of us, I already know that you're going to do the right thing, and just by looking at you, I can feel it, and just by you speaking and saying, I sense that you're sincere, and I sense your power, and we want you to win. So right now, I just want to ask you, what can we do to help you? What can how can we help you best? That's what I want to ask you.
Thank you so much, Cozy. So right now I need donations.
Mm-hmm.
The city matches them 8 to 1, so it can be something as small as a $10 donation. You can go on my Instagram and you can see it. My Instagram is Clarke, Clarke, the number four council. You can go on my website. I would love for people to go on my website and see what I'm about. And that website is www.2025 Clarke, Clarke, citycouncil.com. You can also just go on the New York City Votes website, and you will scroll until you see my name, Athena Clarke, and you can donate there. And also, if you just have time, it can be an hour or two out of your day, because I know most of us are working, we have things to do, and just help me go door knocking, just to spread the word and speak to individuals. Um, you can message me on X, you can DM me on Instagram, you can email me. My email is Clarke4Council 2025. This time the four is actually spelled out FOR. Or you can text me. My number is all over the place, so I have no issue saying it out right now. It's 917-680-1744, and it will be me that responds to you.
Okay, and also wanted to tell you, I wanted to throw that out there, right? Because I want people to help you, like ASAP, right? And that it's important what you said about matching funds, because I've been involved in that area, the financial part, and I'm learning about that. So people, even if you feel like you don't have enough money, and I know people are struggling, $10 will be matched by the city. That means 1 to 8, right? 8 to 1. That means that the $10 will be $80, right? So your money will
Yes.
stretch. So if you give her,
90.
what's that?
You get She gets 80 from the city and then plus the 10, so it's 90.
Correct. Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Thank you for correcting me. Um, yeah, I misspoke there. But you get the point. Your numbers will expand. So help out Athena. Don't feel like it's too little. Just give what you can, and come volunteer for her. Help her out. Come knock on doors. Go join her, man. Like these are our people. This is like our song that we put out with DVS. New blood. She is that. She is new blood. And let's get her out there. Let's get her to win. Let's get her out. And I wanted to say one thing you said about nothing is normal. Yeah, you don't feel like things are normal because it's not, right? Nothing is normal in New York City. High crime. They have decriminalized prostitution. There's people robbing day and night. Like you said, the cities used to be never sleeping. Now it shuts down. These people are not New Yorkers. It's just like we've got these transplants that are destroying New York City. Uh, that's my view. I'm not putting words in your mouth. And the socialism. This is not New York. Socialism is not New York. Socialism is not American. Okay, they're destroying our country. They're destroying our city, uh, and we need to get these people out of here. So vote for Athena Clarke, people. Let's go.
The communist threat is very real, but we're past the halfway point of the episode. We have one of our regulars, John Macari, joining us. We're going to take some questions from the audience. DVS, want to shout him out for listening. He's been touring and doing his music thing and always holding rallies to hype up people and hype up the candidates and things of that nature. Monica, shout out to her, fellow freedom fighter as well. But John, welcome back. We are back in the building with the Freedom Fighters, and of course, you're one of our regulars. So anything that you want to add to the conversation, or anything that you want to ask our city council candidate Athena?
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I just came to support Athena. I've been watching her from since she entered the race, and like I think Cozy nailed it. She's a genuine person. She's absolutely one of us. She is the new blood that I think we need not only in New York City but across the country. And I mean, every time I listen to her, I just can't get out of my head. It's like I could think of like a lot of bad things about myself and maybe some other people, but like, I think of every time I listen to Athena speak, I'm like, how could you fire this girl and take her out of teaching? A career she loved. Like, aren't we looking for employees like her? And we have teacher shortages. And I could never forgive Eric Adams for that. It's been 3.5 years. He hasn't backpedaled on that at all. He could have changed that on day one. Instead, he doubled down and terminated Athena. He followed through with the commie de Blasio. So, I get all the fear around Zohran Mondani. I totally understand it. But I think that we really lost our way because I think we forget that we're really living in New York City. To me, is no longer like part of America, especially now living in Florida and seeing how things operate here. I think New York City residents are sadly mistaken if they think they're not living under the socialist thumb already. And just as far as like when we talk about religious exemptions, I went to get my kid a religious exemption. I literally walked in the government building. They said, "What are you here for?" I said, "I'm here to get a religious exemption for my daughter." The lady goes, "Okay, hold on 1 second." The nurse walks out. She says to me, "What part of New York are you from?" We bull crap for 2 seconds. She hands me I fill out a form. It takes me about 3 seconds. She hands me a religious exemption. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's actually the law in New York State as well." And so I don't understand where that went awry, where now our children can't get it. And I know Bobby Kennedy's working and a lot of other people are working to get that reinstated across all 50 states, especially in New York and the places that had that removed. And the other thing I just and I know Athena will be on it, is like really, because she already said it here, is making sure that we actually have the ability to access religious exemptions. I still, till today, now that all the talks about that Florida wants to end the mandates and any type of vaccine mandates, I hear Catholics over and over again tell me that there's no religion that says that there's no religion on earth that is against vaccination. And it's a false pretense that everybody's putting out there. And as a Catholic, I think it annoys me so much to hear other Catholics say that, because I'm like, I when I look at the police department, every cop who wears a beard, they submitted a religious exemption to wear that beard. And what they did to cite that religious exemption is they cited Leviticus 19:27. You shall not cut the sides of your head nor your beard. And the police department and all city agencies, if you cite Leviticus 19:27, they will say, yeah, no problem. Check. 100% of the time, that religious accommodation is being put through, cops wearing a beard. Now let's fast forward to COVID. COVID comes out, I cite on my religious accommodation, I cite Matthew 2:17. In Matthew 2:17, Jesus states, "Those who are sick are in need of a doctor. Those who are not aren't," and just gets denied. And so I'm like, I don't understand how that works, where we can pick and choose what passages in a Bible, or even if you don't. And the other thing is that not even to just, I'm just talking about me because I'm a Catholic. Uh, Even if you're not of a traditional faith, I still believe that the government has no right to even criticize your accommodation whatsoever. I get when people say we shouldn't even had to put an exemption in, and I agree with that. But I also agree with, hey, well, in the law, it's saying that you're entitled to a religious accommodation. It's saying that nobody could really judge that a religious accommodation unless you're deemed an undue hardship, and no one did that during COVID. None of us were deemed undue hardships. In fact, it was the opposite. We were already being accommodated. and they made us submit for accommodation and then denied us. And it should be in New York the same way it is in Florida. New York should have to abide by the New York State human rights law, where the employer must adhere to your religious accommodation. And then, and again, on that, it's just so hypocritical because an adult could get one, but you can't get that same thing for your child. So I just came in to support Athena. Athena, I love you, and anything I could do to help, as always. I think it's super important, this election. I think it's important to show that like us as a group could actually get grassroots good people into office, not people that are bought and sold by lobbyists and will push the Uber gods and all these other idiots that are just looking to take over New York City and completely monopolize it.
Yeah, Athena is definitely one of the new blood candidates that DVS talks about in his song. DVS is joining us really quick. If you could, I'm not sure what you want to ask or say, but DVS, the floor is yours.
Hello, hello, hello. Actually, I'm at Whole Foods right now, grocery shopping. I just wanted to say thank you, Athena, for coming to the event yesterday. You were one of the standout speakers. It was great to have you. I'm personally myself thrilled about you as a candidate. I think you'll do very great things, um, and you fit right in with all of us here in this chat and a lot of the freedom fighters that we've been fighting with on the ground for the past 7 years. I mean, in this group, I don't know how much you know, but there's some serious freedom fighters who are out there through the most severe uh, situations throughout these past 7 years, and this is how we all know each other. But I'm really grateful for you coming over tonight. I mean, last night, and I just want to thank you for that. And I also let I gave Anthony some of my recommendations from all of the people that came yesterday. He's I sent him the videos. He saw a lot of what you said and some of the others, and now we just wait and see how that goes. But I think you have a very promising future in politics, and thank you for coming.
Yeah, and if you'd like to donate to Athena, just click on her profile. Her website is there. You can donate on the website, and basically any or reach out to her like she said and donate some time. If you can't donate money, we do need to get these better candidates in there. We need uh, people who are going to fight for the people and not for special interests. So I'm going to pass it back over to, and if you want to follow any of us, just click on our profile, whether you're watching this now or watching this on the archive. Click on our profile, follow us. We are every Mondays, 8 p.m. We have a great lineup of special guests over the course of the next month. So definitely want to stay tuned to our future episodes, and I'll pass it back to Cafecito as we got about 15 minutes before we wrap things up.
Oh, I think Cozy wanted to say something.
Yeah, I just saw his hand up, but
Oh
I've
yeah,
already
I
said
just want to make
Cafecito
sure.
first.
By the way, I donated people, just putting it out there. So hopefully, I inspire others to donate. Let's go. Let's get this popping. And listen, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you would like to share with us? Something, anything? Just say it.
You guys did a really good job of asking me questions. There isn't really anything else that I would like to share. Is there anything else I would like to share that's like really ringing at the top of my head?
Well, that's great to hear. That means we did a great job.
You guys
Cafecito,
did.
Rose Angel, do you have anything to say?
I just have to say that for us coming back from this season, really long hiatus, I think we knocked it out the park. And I am equally super excited, thrilled that you are, that new blood, one of those fresh faces. We need your leadership, your kind of common sense, and also lived experience, to borrow words that so many people love to say, lived experience. But really that insight of being a teacher and seeing firsthand, to me, a teacher besides the parents has so much responsibility, potential, in the way you help to shape and cultivate young minds, and the quality of teaching is not there at schools for many reasons, and from the outside looking in, I feel compassion. There were teachers that contacted me during the COVID era that were feeling muzzled. Not just because of the mandates, but just what was happening to the students, and the way the students that didn't have the vaccinations or whatever were being separated, or how sometimes they had to learn in cold winter with open windows, because you wanted to make sure that the virus wasn't spreading around. Like, there was some serious conditioning and social conditioning, and separation that has not gotten us back to what felt like normal, even though it was still weird and chaotic, but it still felt organic. And now things feel somewhat mechanical. People feel more afraid and distanced of each other. There's this insistence, what I like to call wokey pokey land insistence, which is, I want to tell you how you live your life, and I think I know better than you, and what you say, how you say, and what you want to say it, and how many genders there should be, and which bathroom you should go into. You will like it because I said so. And that mentality to me is not of God. No matter how it's packaged, no matter how beautiful the politician may look on the outside, or be so well spoken with pretty sounding words, we are told in spiritual scriptures that the devil can come dressed in the most finest and most eloquent of speeches. And so we are in this new era of time where we're being asked to really tap in and work with all of our senses that God gave us to move forward. And we have to work together in New York. We can't keep being in little boxes. That means working with people we don't like, and talking to people we don't like, and moving forward with that. I always am a staunch believer in walking into a room, and leading at least with respect. We don't have to like, agree, but we do need to work together to have a better New York. Um, Athena, are any messages that you'd like to leave us with as we start winding down, or any announcements, something that might be coming up for you?
That was beautifully said. Um, Anything that is coming up? No, I mean, look out for my next event, which will be next month in October. Not sure what it is, but we might continue to go along with the theme of me being in the classroom because that's one of my favorite places to be. And I completely agree with you with, just a lot of New Yorkers kind of just put their heads down and just go about their day, go about their business. And now is the time for all of us to take a stand and fight for what's right, because we're literally fighting for our lives here, because ultimately, if they can start taking over bigger cities like New York and California and Chicago, and I said this last night, then it'll literally be nothing for them to go into the other states and do that as well. So now is the time for us to join together, because despite what the media wants to push, a lot of us can agree on common sense things, right? Like, I may like cheesecake, you may like apple pie, someone else may like brownies, but we all can agree and say, hey, dessert is yummy. And I think that's what we need to get back to. We don't have to try to agree on every single thing and focus on the nuances, but just the common sense things that make us us and make New York New York, and what made New York feel like New York and what made it home. Most native New Yorkers can agree on these things, and we need to stop focusing on party lines, whether Republican, Democrat, Independent. We need to throw those away, because those are other ways that they use to divide us, and just focus on the heart of the message. And ultimately, that's pretty much what I would want to leave off saying.
That was great. I just want to say, yeah, you hit the key. True diversity. That we want to return to true diversity in New York City, not this fake diversity. When we mean diversity, we mean accepting people's thoughts, accepting differences, a true melting pot. Right now, we don't have that. They have people trying to, uh, force you to like things, force you to say things how they want you to say, how to address people, how to do this, how to do that. It's not feeling New York like, right? So we got to get back to New York, back to true freedom of expression and just accepting people for their differences. That's what we want to get back to, right? So thank you for that. And building. And I just thought of this while you were talking earlier, Athena. This thought came to me is like when you were like it's time to build, right? And building structures, building a good structure requires patience and love, right? When these people are building, they're building out of greed and they're doing things fast and it's not made out of love and patience. And these structures break down. And that's what we're seeing, the breakdown of New York in many ways and the country. Uh, Again, it takes love, it takes dedication and patience to build good, solid structures and building community, right? And these demonic people or these people who are just in it for greed and power, their structures will collapse and they're collapsing before our eyes because they're not built with love and patience, right? So I just wanted to share that. It just one of your words triggered that thought in me. So just sharing that. Anyway, anything else, Rose Angel?
Yes, if I may, if it's okay with you, I would like to pivot. And well, first, I would like to say, Athena, thank you again for sharing your time with us. You are really this shining example of what I believe a candidate, someone who wants to serve the people, could be like common sense thinking, and grounded in logic and looking at the picture and asking more questions. And it just, I'm really just excited and I really can't wait to hear about your successes and your wins. And at this time, I'd like to pivot to, and you are welcome to stay with us, Athena. I know that you've been with us already for about an hour. We don't want to hold your time over too much, but you also can participate in this part as we start winding down, gentlemen and ladies. The big bochinche that keeps happening since this is our first show back, the pressure in mainstream over the mayoral race. And first, they were all excited about Adams. We knew that was not gonna fly. Adams, from what we were seeing and knowing from just doing our own boots on the ground stuff, people didn't have a temperature for Eric Adams on either party and in between. And the push for Cuomo seemed to me to come out of like this inorganic place. I keep hearing rumors of a spoiler candidate, but all that to say is that as soon as I started seeing that, we went in hard in August and we said, we are going with Curtis Lewa. He's our candidate. And we are going to continue to be squeaky wheels in supporting Curtis Lewa for mayor and people like Athena Clarke and the folks that we have lined up, and helping them get more out there, more reach. So whomever would like to answer or respond.
Well, I'll throw my 2 cents in there. I've said this on numerous occasions. The fact that the three Democrats are splitting the Democrat vote is the key factor on why Curtis Lewa can legitimately win. And I say it as a joke. If Jesus Christ ran as a Republican, he would lose in a heads up against a Democrat. That's just how it is. That's the reality. There's a lot of brainwashed Democrats with TDS, and unfortunately, getting back to Athena, city council races, you're not forced to debate. If Athena debated her opponent and people actually saw Athena and knew who she was, then they're more likely to choose Athena over the Democrat candidate. But the Democrat candidates have home field advantage. They're already elected. They already have the majority of voters in New York, and they don't have to debate. So we don't get to open people's eyes on the reality of how, and actually debating the issues on how wrong the Democrats are on their policies. And the answer isn't electing a different Democrat to do the same crappy job, because you saw it with, getting back to the mayor race, you saw it with de Blasio, you saw it with Adams, and Mamdani will be worse than both of them combined. He is a hardcore communist. And once New York City falls, he's going to change the election laws and all types of things to make it damn near impossible, completely impossible for a Republican to win. So this is the only chance a Republican has, because they are splitting the vote. Curtis Lewa got 28% 4 years ago. If he gets the exact same amount, which I think he'll get significantly more, 72% divided by three is 24% each. Now, obviously, Adams is not going to get 24, and it's not going to get split up evenly. The Democratic primary, the first round, Mamdani got 38%. And if you take 38% of 72, for those of you that follow the math, is only 28%. So, based on the number of people, of Democrats that chose Mamdani first, out of that 72%, he should get around 30% as well. So I think it's going to be neck to neck between Curtis Lewa and Mamdani, because Cuomo and Adams are going to take a good chunk of that Democrat vote. So this is very real. It's not a pipe dream that a Republican could win. It's a very legitimate chance, and you got to get the vote out. I know some people think voting is pointless. It's not going to hurt you. There's nothing you could do about it in December after the communists, if the communist wins. There's no going back in time. There's no saying, oh, I wish I would have voted. It's now or never. Donate to candidates, volunteer, do what you can to help spread the word, and actually talk to people in person, not debating online, but just in person, and calmly explain the common sense of what New York was like before Democrats took back over with de Blasio, and what it is now. And that whether voting for a different Democrat is the answer, because it obviously hasn't been working the past 12 years. It's time for a real change, and it's time for Curtis Lewa and city council candidates like Athena to get in office. And the only way they could do that is with everybody doing their part. So I'll leave it at that.
Wow. You on fire. Thank you, Mark. Cozy.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff, man. Like, there's a lot going on, but you guys hit it on. I'm not going to repeat the same things, but also, Mark, there's some debate about that, right? At first, I agreed with the split. Like, it looks like if they split the vote, it's common sense, right? They're splitting the Democrat vote, and it leaves Sliwa a chance to win. But now, Jim Walden just came out and said that if and he's basing it on some of the polls that came out, like independent polls that he looked at, and he's saying that Sliwa can only win on a one-on-one, or he didn't just say Sliwa. He said Mamdani can be defeated only on a one-to-one. Like, if there's more people in the race, it doesn't look good. So I'm not sure.
Fake
Yeah,
news.
yeah, I'm not sure about that. You know what I mean? Because to me, it doesn't make sense. To me, it seems like if you split the vote, obviously these are Democrats splitting the vote amongst themselves, and it seems like that's how Sliwa can win. John, what do you think? Yeah, first
I
Mark respond, and then.
yeah,
Mhm.
I did a video about it on my Instagram because Donald Trump wanted to get Cuomo heads up against Mamdani and have Curtis Lewa and Adams drop out and take shots at positions in the administration. Number one, in New York City, unless things changed, even if you verbally drop out, your name is still on the ballot. You got the signatures. It's in the Board of Elections. They're putting your name on there. You verbally drop out. Curtis Lewa is still the Republican candidate. And for those that didn't hear, wouldn't have heard his announcement that he dropped out, which he's not doing, um, they would still vote Republican down the line, and he would still get, let's say 10 to 15%, even though he dropped out, because Republicans will vote down the line. They didn't hear the news that he dropped out, or maybe they did and they don't care and they're still going to vote for him. That's the way people are. So there's no scenario where one of the Democrat candidates go up against Mamdani and wins. Mamdani already beat Cuomo in the primary. And the only scenario is for Curtis Lee. It's either Curtis Lee or a Mamdani. Cuomo's not going to win. Adams is not going to win, but they're going to do their part by taking some of those Democrat
Correct.
votes out. These are not random independent candidates. It's the incumbent mayor, which some stupid people like him, and some people, stupid people like the grandma killer Cuomo as well. So these are household names that people know. And there are a lot of people who were brainwashed during COVID that really like Cuomo. He was on the news every day. The brainwashed people wearing masks and stuff see him as a hero, and they will vote for him. So he will get a good chunk of those votes. Mamdani will get the most out of the three Democrats, but it might be enough where Curtis Lewa gets 35% and comes up beating Mamdani, who gets 33%, because, you know, Cuomo got 15, and whatever the math ends up being, who takes what. But the only way that Mamdani loses is to Curtis Leo. It's one or
I
the
think
other,
so, man. I
Curtis or
agree
him.
with you, Mark. John,
And that I'm just real quick. That's fake news to try to get people to
to put
to
pressure.
get that heads
Yeah,
up
yeah,
scenario. So,
yeah,
go ahead,
Hey,
John.
listen, I like Jim Walden, but that's the dumbest take I ever heard. I totally agree with Mark. Neither of them, Eric Adams couldn't win the Democratic primary. He would have came in fifth place if he would have ran as the incumbent. So he chose to pretend that he was going to be independent. While he was doing that, he surveyed the Republican primary to see if he could primary Curtis, and it came back that he wouldn't even get 30% in the Republican primary. So he has zero base. He can't win, and now everyone, even all his supports, now moving towards Cuomo. But Cuomo already went in that Democratic primary. He has no shot at beating Mondani. The only person with a shot at beating Zohran Mondani is Curtis Sliwa. Everything else is fake news. And honestly, what Trump, what he's doing and what he's saying, good. I'm glad that he has nothing to do with Curtis Lewa, but he's interfering because in my take, he either wants Eric Adams so that the Trump organization has a nice foothold in New York City, or you get Mondani, and now you got a villain for the next 4 years to beat up, a villain in New York City like you got Brandon Johnson. So I think the only thing that we could do is get behind Curtis Lewa and get the message out there, because it is the true message. Jim Walden, he was polling at 0%, and he's telling, oh, whoever's polling less should get out, and he's calling for this pact. It's like, dude, you're not even polling, bro. And Eric Adams ain't signing on to that. He's not getting out, and Cuomo's not getting out. So what are you saying? Ultimately, you're just asking the Republican nominee to get out. Why in God's green earth would the Republican
mhm,
nominee step off of the ballot? I mean, it's
yeah.
disgusting, and it's disgusting to watch and hear Republicans say this. It's like it's honestly disgusting to me. And it
John,
bothers
I
it,
love you,
and
man.
it bothers me that Trump's a Republican president, and he hasn't mentioned Curtis Lewa's name on it. It bothers me.
Yeah. John, I love it, man. I love how you're straight to the point, like straight truth, and you just called it as it is. Like you said, like it could be that he just wants a villain to attack for the next 4 years. It could be, and it also there's many scenarios, right? But I ultimately agree with both of you, Mark and John, because common sense to me, logically, it made sense that obviously if you have three people watering down, the Democrat vote, obviously it's going to help Sliwa. It's just common sense to me. That's all. I didn't need a study.
Yeah, Curtis Lewa and Trump have a personal beef that dates back to a long time ago. That's why Curtis Lewa, a lot of Republicans had a beef with him that he's not a Trump supporter when it came to the mayor race. And I'm like, you're not going to vote for the Republican candidate because he's not a Trump supporter. So you're just going to let the Democrats win. That's pretty freaking stupid. So, but Trump endorsing any candidate is not going to work in their favor when it comes to running in New York City. So I'm glad he's not endorsing Curtis, because it would not work in his favor. The Republicans are going to vote Republican regardless of whether Trump endorses him or not. At least most of them. You do have the few ones who are thinking Adams or whatever, or won't vote for him because he doesn't support Trump. But the majority of Republicans will vote for Sliwa. He will get the independents. He's the first Republican since Giuliani to get the Chinese vote. And the reason why I tweeted this the other day, the reason why the Chinese and the Russians tend to vote Republican in recent years is because they know exactly what communism is, and it didn't work out. So take it from the experienced people who actually experienced communism. It's not the fairy tale that they try to try to preach to you, and it's a long-term process that takes decades before you implement communism. So it's a long-term plan. De Blasio started it in New York, and Mamdani's looking to take a knockout blow to New York, and it's time we stand up and fight back and make sure Sliwa wins.
Yeah, I want to hear DVS's take on this if he wants to speak. I'm not sure if he can. He's shopping, he said, but if you can jump in, jump on.
Yeah, yeah. He said he's
I'm here.
shopping and plus.
I'm here. I'm
Okay.
here. Took a while to get these bags situated. Yeah. So what was the question
Like, how do you feel about what we're talking about in terms of like,
with Curtis?
yeah, well, the whole Trump with Curtis and, you know, I mean,
Yeah,
anything you
I
want.
don't. Yeah, I don't know what Trump's whole deal is. I'm still trying to figure it out. It doesn't make sense to me. Uh, and here's another thing. Like when we were out getting like signatures and all that, I think some of you guys were there. I mean, the thing that we used to hear all the time, like we're like, one of our lines, one of my lines was, "Fire Eric Adams, sign this petition, and get this person on the ballot," right? Uh, and everybody, like in liberal locations, right? Like in areas that are full liberal, and liberals would run from across the street when they heard those words to fire Eric Adams. They'll run back, right? They were like, "Oh, you said just the right thing. Fire Eric Adams." So that's liberals who used to love him, and then now, I mean, we already hate him. We already never liked Eric Adams. Like he completely just failed us miserably. He was a total liar. He didn't, sit down with us like he said he would. He didn't, call us back. I can't stand his character. That's probably the biggest thing that I hate about Eric Adams. I can't stand how his entire demeanor, his entire personality, he disgusts me. But uh, Republicans don't vote for him. We already don't like him. The only Republicans that would vote for Eric are the like super duper, whatever Trump says, I do type, fools, right? That just, oh, I don't know. Apparently Trump is cool with him, so maybe I should be too. Absolutely not. This guy failed us miserably. And then, Cuomo, how much worse is that? It's like an embarrassment that he's even daring to step into the damn ring. It's like, what a type of audacity. So the only thing, left is Curtis. I'm not completely, on board with, Curtis's whole, style. There's some things that are questionable to me, but overall, Curtis is the realest one. He's the best candidate by far. There's not even a remote close option for me, uh, because he's the guy on the ground. He's the guy who's been on the streets. He's the guy who's not afraid to show up and be out there with us on the trains, on the avenues, on the boulevards, on the streets. He's been out there. He knows the city, and I can at least say that I believe that he loves this city for real, right? Adams, for me, it's all about his power. And he says so. He says, "Oh, I am the greatest mayor of the greatest city on planet Earth." Guy thinks he's King Dingaling. And that's all it is for him. He likes to be at the camera. He
Well,
likes to
he,
be
he is King Dingaling. That's the perfect name for him, King Dingaling. He likes his entrance music too, like he's a WWE star or
I don't
something.
step
Yeah,
down, I step up with my
yeah.
shorties.
So I don't know what the plan is there. You know, um, sometimes things are like, they don't work the way that we want them to work, and sometimes, for example, when I had a little momentary short like beef with Scott Lebedo just because of his support for Nicole Malatakis over John Matlin, who was for me by far the greater person, and for him also. It was for him also. For Scott Lebedo, John was the better person, but Nicole Maliatakis was the actual real option who was actually had a chance. So sometimes you do have to kind of like, you know, suck it up and go with what's really, how the game goes. Because at the end of the day, you don't just, how is the saying? Smite your face, or to do the cut your nose to smite your
Cut your
face.
nose to spite your
Yeah,
face. Yeah.
yeah. Sometimes it's, you just can't do that because, for example, some people say, "Oh, I'm just going to get out of this because I don't like Curtis, Eric, or Cuomo, so I'm not voting for anybody." Well, that's stupid, right? That's just stupid. Somebody needs to take the position, and we have to have, even if they're all evil, we got to get the least of them, the least of all evils. We just have to. That's what we have to do. And so, I don't know what the game plan is. There might be something else in the background, kind of like John said. Maybe they need a villain. Maybe you know, who knows? Maybe who knows? Maybe they can actually deport Mamdani for real and get him deported because he really can't. He's a real communist. And perhaps if he gets in, they could deport him after he gets in, and then put whoever they want. All kinds of silly crap, right? But I don't get it. I'm not with it. I'm going for Curtis, and that's just the bottom line for me.
And that's the bottom line because DVS said so. Since I mentioned WWE, I don't know. Anyway, it came to my mind. I'll pass it back to the hostess with the mostest. We're already in overtime. Our first episode, and we're in overtime already. Trying to shorten it up, but Cafecito, what else? What else is on wrapping things up, or what else do you want to
We
add?
are wrapping things up. I just want to ask Athena if she wanted to respond to that last question.
You guys did a great job. I'm cracking up over here, by the way, of explaining your positions. All I can say is I'm voting for Curtis, and it is it's very annoying, especially as if the listeners don't know I'm a new Republican, but it's very annoying to see how divided we only have one Republican candidate, and we can't even collectively rally behind him. So it's like, how are you going to try to convince Democrats to vote for him? And we can't even, as a party, unify just for our candidate. But Curtis was there with us 4 years ago, and he's still with us now. So as for me and my house, we're voting for Curtis.
And one thing I gotta say, if you're a Republican out there that's gonna vote for Eric Adams or Cuomo, you have a low IQ. That's it. It's straight up. You have a low IQ, or you're gullible, or whatever it is. I know there's some people out there, I'm not going to say their names, or they're parading around saying, vote for Cuomo. First, they were saying Eric Adams. Listen, what is wrong with you? Stop it. There is only one Republican candidate. It is Curtis Sliwa. There's only one sane choice in this race. It is Curtis Sliwa. Okay? That's it. I don't love everything about him, but he's the only sane choice. He's paid his dues in this city since the 70s. He's put in work. He's tried to protect people. He's done what he can. At least he can say he's done shit for the city. What do the others have done? What does the others have done? Parade around, harass women, kill grannies, communists, only been a American citizen for 6 years. Uh, Pretty much like almost like that's questionable. Like you like refuse to become an American citizen. What's up with that? Yeah, seizing the means of production. Listen, Curtis Lewa all the way. Let's go.
Let's go. All right. Let's do winding down comments. Plug your shows, where people could connect with you. I'll start with Athena. Please remind people where they could connect with you if they want to volunteer and or donate.
Yes. So my Instagram is the same as my Twitter handle. It is Clarke, the number four council. And my website is 2025 clarkcitycouncil.com. If you go to my Instagram, you will see all of my links in terms of being able to donate. Again, you can text me 917 You can donate at the regular donate link, contribute.nycvotes.org, and you can scroll down to my name, Athena Clarke. And any donation amount, even if it's just $10, again, is greatly appreciated because the city matches it 8 times.
And they match up to $175. So
Woohoo! Let's
189.
go.
And that's freaking awesome. I'd like to also share that next week, Jimmy Wagner of the Donald John Trump Club in Brooklyn will be joining us. followed by Elijah Diaz, who's actually listening in. Hello to our hermano, muchas bendiciones, and more special guests. And our focus up until November will be solely focused on New York City and the election season. Let's see. Or closing comments, John.
No, I just want to say let's go with Athena Clarke. Appreciate you guys. I missed you while you guys were off, so I'm excited that you guys will be back on Monday nights. And thanks everybody for joining in. And check it out if you want to hear of anything that's going on in the NYPD. Check out at the Finest Unfiltered on YouTube. Appreciate you guys, and I see you out there, Elijah too. I'll be tuning in. I'm looking forward to Jimmy Wagner next week.
Thank you, DVS. And before that, DVS, before you say something, I just want to just take a moment to.
He's not a list. He's a listener, not a speaker. I think he took off
Okay,
the
so
speaker, so
I'll
he might
just
not
say
be
this
available.
part. I'll just make an announcement. Just want to say a special shout out to Stick Mule and Anthony Constantino. Definitely appreciate uh Stick Mule, and I love the stickers, and watch out for the stickers that we're all creating with our messages, and be a part of the sticker revolution. Check out Sticker Mule and set up your own shop. And at this time, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, all my social media is the same. Mark the number 4 NY. I've kept it the same for several years, so you can follow me on there. You can see my videos. I had a video, Cozy Cold People Stupid. I said something a little less PG in my Instagram video. If you guys want to check it out, and the Cuomo people, it's because Trump said Cuomo heads up, and now all of a sudden some people want to do Cuomo. I wish Trump stayed out of it completely. Hopefully he doesn't interfere any further. I understand that he's a native New Yorker and he doesn't want to see New York fall to communism. He has the emotional attachment to New York because it's his hometown, just like many of us. But he really needs to stay out of it, and everybody really needs to get on the same page and vote for Curtis Lewa. Stop thinking that a Republican can't win. In a normal year, they can't, but this is different, and I explained it already. So just put 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 as much effort as you possibly can. Whether if you can't do it financially, do it in person by knocking on doors, or the bare minimum, put some social media posts out there, something that Curtis, some of his own videos, so people could see Curtis speak, and he has common sense. He is the only actual tough on crime candidate. He has the no kill shelters for animal rights. Go to his website, sleewa4nyc.com. He has a whole platform out there, not just tough on crime. He is the common sense candidate. You will see New York start, to stop the bleeding and start to restore New York to its glory days, where you could feel safe walking on the streets, and you could afford to buy groceries, and not the communist way, which eventually will fail, but long term we will restore New York, and it starts by putting in the effort to get Curtis Lewa, and as well as city council candidates like Athena, and those two rhyme, Lewa and Athena. But anyway, vote Republican down the line, no matter what neighborhood you're in, and let's save New York City.
Thank you, Mark. And it's been a pleasure coming back strong. This has been an incredible X Space. Thank you for everyone who's joined us. About to pass it on to Cozy to close us out. But I just want to remind you, everyone, that we will be back Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Jimmy Wagner of the DJT Club is our next spotlight guest. And por favor, help us spread the word. We do share this show on X, and we transition to video, so you can find it on Cafecito Break Rumble, on YouTube Cafecito Break, and our cafecitobreak.org. So thank you for tuning in, Cozy.
Yeah, first of all, I have much love for everybody that joined us. Athena, Clarke, obviously, thank you so much for your time and connecting with us and sharing your story. Really appreciate you. John, DVS, Mark, everybody, Edmund, everybody who joined us, Elijah, thank you so much. Much love to everybody fighting with us. And let's do this. Let's save New York. Take care.
Take care, everyone. See you next week. God bless.